This video is my off season in the bag, and what I basically did is I took disc for disc, I took out what's in my main bag and replaced it with something that I thought would be similar. So none of it, well, I shouldn't say none of it, most of this is not in my main bag. I kept a couple, and I mentioned that in the video. And things to think about during the video in terms of how discs are flying. It's currently 5 degrees, real feel of -10, and I was throwing in about 5 to 10 mile per hour tailwind right to left. So this is my bag. So first up will be this top pocket. Okay, so first is what I keep in my top pocket. I've got two prime judges. They're on the firm side. I don't throw these though, I just put them. And then I kind of just keep my utility in the top pocket. I keep a full tilt. I keep a classic Justice. And then in this bag, I keep just a neutron glitch. This Justice I only forehand, and it's base plastic and pretty beat up, so it actually flies pretty straight. And then the last disc I'm keeping in that top pocket is the glitch. Alright, now on to putters. The first one that I threw into my winter bag has big shoes to fill, but it's the Tour of Terror Pixel. I was just looking for a point and shoot putter, maybe a little flip up, but I'm about 280 feet away from that goal. Little stable in the tailwind, but you got the gist. Pretty straight. Next up, I've actually never thrown this disc, but it's Meridian Discs. I bought everything from their lineup because I wanted to try it. This is the Tundra 2401. Feels deep. I would compare it to a P2 in feel. Very firm, but you know it's pretty cold outside. So let's see how it flies. Well, I would compare that flight as well to a P2. And then these next two that I threw in the bag, these are overstable approach. This first one is an AVR 3. I think, in my opinion, one of the best feeling putters. And it flies straight and then dumps, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah, beautiful. And this last one's a new one I'm trying out because in my normal bag I have an S-line Tactic, so I was trying to find something close. So I'm trying the Innova Rat. I've never seen anybody throwing this. And yeah, I'm liking it. It's the same thing. You can throw it hard, it'll just fly flat and then dump. this next one fills a slot in my bag that I did not know needed filling until I found this disc. And this specific disc was actually a staple for me for a long time until I found something that does the job better. But this is an ESP Buzz OS, and the special slot that this thing fills is that I can rip on it as hard as I want, and it'll just fly straight, and then fade. You don't have to worry about this thing turning, but it'll just go straight and then fade, and that is a wonderful thing to have in a disc. Next up is a disc I just recently got. I know a lot of people who throw it. I know a lot of people who love it. It is an Eclipse Reactor. I'm thinking this might make my bag next season. We'll see. It's flying pretty stable right now, but I think if it beats in, it can just be my perfect, straight flying mid-range. All right. Next up is going to be another disc I've never thrown before. So I'm going to guess that this is where it goes in the stability. And I actually can't remember what it's called. It's Meridian Discs again, brand new company, or newer. And it looks sweet. It's the Jawbreaker Flex Z Flex from Discraft, but it's firm. And yeah, this thing feels great. It's a 5502, so if you want to look into it, that's what this is. And this will be my first time ever throwing it. Okay, that's nice. Next up, again, big shoes to fill for my main bag. This is one of my favorite slots in my main bag, so finding a replacement was pretty tough for the off season. But this is just a Star Mako 3. I think it'll be very similar, but I like it. Very shallow, feels good in the hand, and it flies good. Next up, replacing my flippy mid-range slot, which is also tough to replace. I've got the Night Prowl 2 Discmania's Origin. This disc is probably the farthest flying mid-range I've ever seen. The glide is incredible. And yeah. And then it doesn't glide. First up, my meat hook right now, this is in my actual bag, just a Discmania splice. You can use anything for this slot, but this is the first one. No, I wouldn't say the first one, but this is the one out of all of the, 9304s that I feel pretty comfortable forehand and backhand. So the Innova, or the Discmania splice. Next up, you could call it a distance driver, but it is the Innova Invictus. It's a 10-speed. The only reason I call it a fairway is because anything 10 speed and under, I'm fan gripping. So I lumped it in with the fairways. But this is also got big shoes to fill for my main bag. I was just looking for something that could maybe push straight a little bit, but be reliably overstable. And yeah, I've moved back to about, I don't know, probably 370, 380 from the goal. Next up is a disc I used to be in love with. I haven't thrown it in some time. It is the MVP Tesla, or Axiom. The MVP Tesla. I mean, the profile is incredible. Super flat, super shallow, feels great, 9-speed, and at least when I've thrown them, decently overstable. Nothing too crazy. Next up for me, straight fairway drivers. This is a slot I actually haven't been confident in a long time. So if anybody wants to let me know what 7 or 8 speed that you throw to be your straight flying fairway driver, let me know. I was throwing FDs, but I lost them, and but I haven't felt good about any that I've thrown in a while. So right now in this winter bag, I've got a couple of T-birds. And first up, I'll just be throwing this stock Star. It's really old. I've had this since I started playing, and I've been playing for about 8 years. But it's still good. Oh, fuck. And then that other T-bird is a Jennifer Allen Color Glow Tour Series T-bird. A little bit of anhyzer, but it fought out pretty well, actually. And then for flippy fairways, one of my favorite discs to throw. I actually have my favorite. This is in a different plastic though. This is the Hatchet. You can't really go wrong with this one. It's so fun to work these. You can work them anywhere. As long as you're not throwing into headwind, you can do basically anything you want with these things. The West Side Hatchet. I can't recommend it enough. And then finally, one that I'm trying as well, another flippy fairway. It's the Thought Space Mantra. This is very flippy. Now for most of my bag, I tried to replace everything disc for disc, but this was just a brand new one I wanted to try. Wow, that thing is nice. That's the thing I like about 11 speeds, is they still get good distance, but they're very controllable. The Ballista Pro, this is obviously in the bag. This is just an open field bomber. Just maximum distance, no line to hit, just distance. I eased up on it because I didn't want to lose it. Now, for this time lapse, I have been, for the past while, up until last season, I threw Heimberg Destroyers because they had a very desirable flight for me. And time lapses I would compare very closely to those. One, in the fact that they're very unpredictable, but two, if you find a good stable one, it's pretty good, and that's what these ones seem to be doing for me. And finally, the Wraith. Going back to what I said, the reason I bag them is because you can still get a ton of distance on them, but they're much more controllable, for me, personally at least, than 12 and 13 speeds.